This episode of the Spotlight Insider is brought to you by Teflon Radio, the official sound of hip-hop and R&B lovers who live and breathe the culture. At Teflon Radio, we do more than play music. We create a space where artists, voices, and stories come alive. From the hottest new hits to timeless classics, interviews, and community updates, we're on it 24/7 to keep you inspired, entertained, and connected. The same energy is what fuels the Spotlight Insider, a show that puts the spotlight on visionaries, creatives, and the community leaders who are changing the game. So whether you're tuning in to catch a powerful conversation or just vibing out for some dope music, we got you covered. Download the Teflon Radio app now on the Apple App Store or Google Play, and keep it locked. Teflon Radio, where real music meets real stories. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your boy, Jonathan Smith, a.k.a. TeflonJohn, coming to you courtesy of the I Am TeflonJohn brand. In today's episode on Up Close and Personal, we have two more actors from the wonderful stage play by Daniel Barksdale, The Family Reunion. These are one of probably two of my favorite characters in the play. So if you could just introduce yourself and the name of the character that you play, starting with you, ladies first.
Brenda Spinner. I'm Evelyn.
Jamon, Haskins, and I play Uncle Jerome.
Okay, so for y'all characters, it's just like I said, when y'all came in, it was funny like right off the rip. So give us just a little bit about your characters. If you can describe them in a few words.
I guess Uncle Jerome is that character he's that old grumpy grandpa that just don't take mess from nobody. He tells it as it is, whether that's whether he's got to do that being funny or just blunt. That's how he is. He's just that grandpa that he's been around the family for a long time. So he's that kind of guy that he's not going to take much stuff out of anybody, and he can see through people real quick. And he's not hip to the new lingo or anything like that. So he mispronounces words all the time and gets confused a lot. And he don't know that he's older, so he tries to act younger, and that shows. So.
Yeah. So what about you and your character?
My character, Evelyn, I try to keep Uncle Jerome straight, which is not, easy thing to do. And, he coughs, he drinks, and it's just hard to keep him, together. But I just pray as I try to do the character. The only thing I know to do. Because, he comes in and he can hardly walk, and then he wants to do the I don't know what that thing is, shimmy or whatever. And, people got grandmas out there in the audience, and he's just gyrating. But I just tried to, let him know you got to stop that. And then he tried to get down on his knees. He got bad knees. He got arthritis in his knees. But we ride together going, to back and forth to the family reunion.
Yeah.
We have to go to the family reunion to keep them together.
Yeah.
So that's what I tried to do.
Okay. So what is your favorite part about the other one's character?
My favorite part, I want to say when he gyrating, but that's not right.
You can say it. Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead and say it.
No. But when he's when at the end, when Jamal is telling people, make today because tomorrow is not promised, and he sits down beside Jay and they hug and talk about, talk to each other. That's it.
Gotcha. So what about you?
I guess my favorite with Evelyn is, at the very beginning when we're arguing about having to pick up Jay because, number one, I don't like him because he's an alcoholic, and every time he gets in the car, it's a problem. Every time he comes to these reunions, it's a problem. So, but I like it at the very beginning when we just arguing back and forth, and and from our past plays, I'm always in some kind of war with her, some kind of competition with her, and but that'd be my favorite part.
Okay, so do you draw any similarities personally with your personality, with your character? Are there any similarities there?
I guess for me, it'd be I'm more of a comedic guy at the very I try to make light of a lot of stuff, and that's the way Uncle Jerome is. when something's going down, he tries to make light of it and just, but he'll be serious about it. It's like, we need to get this fixed, but, then he'll start to be like, but it's something that we're just going to have to do. And, I'll just put my little comedic spin on it. Like Uncle Joe, and, Medea and Mr. Brown.
Yeah.
I kind of see the similarities between those characters and me, because they're serious, but they do the comedic role.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine is trying to help people like I was trying to help Jay. I picked him up because I wanted him to ride with us so I could keep an eye on him. And I don't judge him when we stop at the store and when he's drinking. But Jerome judges him and talks about him. But, I told Jerome, you got to pray for people. You can't talk about them.
Yeah.
And that's what I tried to instill in him. But he doesn't listen because he drinks too. When they stop at the store, he get all kind of, chips and stuff like that. Jamon might get a beer, but the chips and things is not good for Jerome. So I try to help him.
The Spotlight Insider is sponsored by the UP Foundation of Lynchburg, Virginia. They're hosting the Unlimited Potential Youth Empowerment Camp for kids ages 10 to 17 from June 11th to the 27th at the Thaxton Community Center. This camp is free and includes storytelling, healthy activities, a nature trip, yoga, games, and great mentors. Lunch and snacks and shuttle services are provided. To register, call 434-381-0258. Don't miss this chance to unlock your child's potential with the UP Foundation. Now back to your show.
So when you guys are looking at the play, and I think you see a version of everybody in your family or people that you've seen. So how important is it for, say, a character like you to exist in a family to make light of some things? And, sometimes it may get on people's nerves, but sometimes you really need that. So how important is that dynamic to have that in your real family, somebody that can make light of a situation?
Oh, I think it's very important. You don't want to take life too seriously. There are some things that you need to, concentrate on and be serious about. But, if you don't laugh, then if at the end of the day, if you don't laugh at it, you're going to end up, that leads into depression, leads into just, a lot of mental problems that you don't want to deal with. And he's helped me, Uncle Jerome and past characters of Daniel that I've been dealing with, they've helped me because I can, what would Uncle Jerome do? What would Walter do? What would, what would they do in a situation like this?
Yeah.
And it basically, makes it, I sit back and they would probably say, oh, forget about it. They'd probably be like, you young, go ahead and don't worry about it. And, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Find a nice woman to deal with, And they'll say, stuff like that, funny stuff like that. But, I think just a human and comedic attitude toward life in general has helped me, though. When stuff gets really deep, when it gets really serious, I just look back on them.
Okay. What about you? How important is it to have someone that can lighten up their mood in your family?
It is very important because that they can tell you that you're going to get through that. If you're going through a door, you're not going to get stuck in that door. You're going through the door. So even with Jay, the alcohol, he got through that. So it's good. Like Jerome said, you don't depression. You don't want go into depression, but it's good to have somebody that can bring you out of.
Okay. Now, as far as your character, right, when you think about Black culture, you think about Black families, you remind me of that strong, mama, big mama figure. So how important is that where you're trying to watch everybody, trying to keep everybody straight? How important is that dynamic in our actual families?
Oh, that's real important because she's the one that keeps the families together. Because a lot of times with big mama gone,
yeah,
then the family just go haywire.
Yeah.
But, it's good to have this to keep, like I say, the family together.
Now, how do you think as far as when you look at the play dynamic and you look at that family and you kind of see the lineage? But I think nowadays where you're seeing, like you said, the big mamas are gone or they're getting younger. What impact do you think that has on the family, both of you guys? So where your big mama was, 50s, 60s, now they're like in their 40s. That's like the new big mama. So how important is that? The impact on her, on them being younger, having to carry that weight at such an earlier age.
Well, if they could learn from their parents and their grandmother, aunts, uncles, how they dealt with stuff, then they are able to carry on. Have big meals on Sunday. Everybody sit around the table and discuss. You have to talk about things. And that's what I feel.
I guess the younger you are, it gives you more time to learn the values later on of how to raise your kids, how to take care of yourself. Whereas the other, me being Generation X, your grandparents were 70, 80, and they've been through it all. So they can only teach you but so much. But, the younger generation now, you can look back on, sometimes nowadays you got kids being able to teach the grown-ups what's happening. Yeah. But it's, it's I think just, that's the positive thing of being young is that. But on the flip side of it, the disadvantages of it is, you don't have that wisdom, that to fall back on. And you just are like, sometimes you're like, you don't know where to turn to. Mm-hmm. You wish you did have that big mama. You wish you did have that grandfather, that, the wisdom in there to fall back on, to give you more insight in life.
Yeah. So having 2 sold-out shows and you guys got a third one, right? How important is it for people to come out and see this play?
I think it's very important because they can some of them can see themselves in the play, their family. Somebody got a drunk in the family, somebody got somebody like Jerome in the family, and they are able to see, and even hear the songs that's being sung.
Mm-hmm.
And I to echo off of that, most definitely they should come see this because I guarantee you somewhere in this play it is a real life situation that somebody may be going through. Maybe it could be a drunk in the family. It could be somebody who's had a debilitating disease. Mm-hmm. It could be somebody that's a singer. It could be any of that. But I guarantee you, somewhere in that whole play is going to be something that somebody can relate to, and somebody can be like, "Oh, okay, that used to be me. That used to be her. That used to be him."
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that you'll walk away knowing, you walk away feeling better about yourself because you know that we make light of bad situations in it, of course, but at the end, it's all about relationships toward each other, getting together, just concentrating on making solutions of a bad situation together instead of apart.
Yeah. Okay. Now I want to do this as we end. So in your character, right? In your character, what message would you have for the audience for 2025 at this moment? Something inspirational in your character.
Well, Evelyn, I think they should come in because, I think that, they shouldn't ride with us because you always want to pick them up. But I think that they should come see us because, just look at us. We wisdom. We know what's happening. We just can't pick up Jay, though, because you know how that is.
Oh, yes, we can pick up Jay. Yes, you have to pick up people.
We're not going to pick up Jay.
You have to pick up people.
We're not going to do that.
Because the spirit would not let me do that.
Your spirit can remain calm just for a little bit.
You can't tell the Lord to remain calm.
No, but we can tell whoever you picking up. If we would never get to where we're going. She wants to pick up everybody. That's how she is.
Family.
So, whatever.
So there you have it, motivational words from their character. So I appreciate you guys. Like I said, continue doing a phenomenal job. You're killing it on stage, off stage. And like I said, as we prepare for that third show, I hope that and pray that God blesses you all once you hit the road. So, and if you haven't seen it, you got to make it out there May 24th. Thank you for your time, because I'm breaking up their rehearsal time right now. So thank you for your time. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.